cross-cultural experience from my childhood was when we lived in a primarily Jewish neighborhood in Toronto. The neighborhood is comprised mainly of Israeli immigrants, and they are very proud of their culture. Every Friday, one of them would host a dinner party called Shabbat, and everybody would come over to their house and have dinner. During the holiday season, we celebrated Hanukkah with them, and they would come over to our house to see a Christmas tree. Most of them had never seen a Christmas tree in their life. Through this experience, I learned a lot more about Jewish culture. I believe it's very important for people to learn and embrace other religions' cultures because it helps them understand how people of different religions act.
When it comes to cross-cultural experiences, in short, I don't really have that many. I mean, I grew up in a white Christian neighborhood. But on my maternal side of the family, my mom is Hispanic, and on my paternal side of the family, my dad is Caucasian. Now, I'm constantly living with two different cultures daily, and so whenever it comes to some holiday gathering, meeting, whatever, both sides of the family end up getting together, there always seems to be some sort of cultural clash that ends up happening. Now, because of this, because of my lack of knowledge of different cultures, I think whenever I'm talking to someone from a different cultural background, I might come off as a little bit ignorant, especially if they're from a culture that I might not have much information on.
One example of a cross-cultural experience that I have is the fact that most of my family is not from the United States, where I was born and live now. My dad's family is all from Argentina, and most of them live in Buenos Aires or the surrounding suburbs. Most of my mom's family is from Belgium, and they all live in various towns in Belgium, and a couple of them live in France. So whenever I go to visit my family, it's always a cross-cultural experience for me because I get to learn about the cultures of Argentina and Belgium respectively, even though I'm just visiting my family. So for example, whenever we go to Argentina to visit, which we do about every 2 years or so, we get to experience what Argentina is like all over again. We get to see, the streets, try different foods, and just hang out with my grandparents and experience the culture of the asado, or of having mate every day. And I think that's always a really interesting and eye-opening experience to see what things are different from Argentina versus Ohio in the United States.
So the most interesting cross-cultural experience that I had was when I attended my cousin's wedding. She's Chinese American and the man she married is Indian American, so they wanted to do a blended ceremony for their wedding. For the first half, she wore a white dress, which was traditionally American styled, and he wore a black and white tuxedo. And then for the second half of the wedding, she wore a traditional Indian sari, which is a type of dress, and then he wore a traditional Indian styled suit, and it was all very colorful. The drastic color differences was super interesting to see, because like the first half of the wedding it was black and white, which is pretty traditional for American weddings, and then for the second half of the wedding it was super colorful with reds and oranges and all different colors. And then also what I believe that their parents actually had a traditional gift exchange between the two parents or the in-laws, and I think one of the gifts that was actually exchanged was a goat or 2 goats, I think. It was just super interesting to see the differences between the two styles of weddings.